Welcome back to CSI 252. We're continuing on with our study of CSS, cascading style sheets, and how we can use them to style HTML pages. And so I'm going to give another example of the forms of CSS styling and kind of restate why we have developed these, why we've developed these methods. Not we, but why CSS was developed. So what I'm going to do is let's start off with. We're not going to show those. I'm going to display some websites. Let's see, put these up here in sequence. These HTML files are available in the class Moodle site. Actually, didn't want to do that. There we go. And so we actually have 4 files here. The first has a 001 in it, and it's just a straight HTML file with no styling whatsoever. And if we want to look at that from a code standpoint, it looks like this sort of thing. Here we got our doc type tag. We start off with HTML and we close with HTML. There's a head section with nothing in it. And then the body, and we got a header 1, we have a header 2, and we have 6 paragraphs, the last of which just contains a reference, a URL, where I pulled this from. And this text is some kind of Latin thing that was lorem ipsum. I think I described this before. It's just some Latin text that printers used as sample text to try out different fonts or typefaces or whatever they were doing. And so this guy is completely rendered. Now I happen to be using Chrome, but this is rendered using web defaults. That is, for Chrome on this system, it has certain defaults. It looks like something like Times Roman is being used here, and the font sizes for a heading 1 and a heading 2, and the font colors and all that sort of thing. Spacing of paragraphs, that's all defined by web defaults for Chrome, at least on this machine. I think that's hopefully the same on Chrome from machine to machine. The next, and again, this lorem ipsum doesn't make any sense. It's just text used for this kind of thing. The very next one, we have the heading 1 has been centered. The heading 2 has a kind of a gray color. Its font is changed to Courier, and here we go. The file name is put here. This is CSS lorem ipsum CSS 0002 inline CSS. Now there's some styling going on here. You can see that we centered the level 1 header. We've put the level 2 header in Courier, and we've made it a gray font. The second paragraph is in Courier, and the 4th paragraph is the font color is blue. So we'll talk again. We'll just mention what inline CSS is. If we look at the next one, it it doesn't change. In fact, the next two don't change in appearance. They're just applying their styles in a different way. So that was inline. This is internal. These same styles are applied to the same sections, but they're applied using a style block in the head section of the HTML page. You'll see that in the code. And then this is the same look here. And, this head is centered. The header 2 is courier with this grayish color for the font. Paragraph 2 is courier and paragraph 4 is blue. But they all achieve it in different ways. Here it is with no formatting. Here it is with inline CSS. That's where we put style tags right into the HTML, right where we want them. And this is okay, but it would be very difficult to maintain the look and feel of a large website with many web pages if we tried to do things this way, because any change would mean going back through every file, searching for the styles we applied, and then changing them one by one, and then testing to make sure we had gotten them all and hadn't changed the style of some other paragraph or some other heading or something like that. So that's a bit of a chore. The next step up from that is to embed all of our styles up in the head section of the HTML page, using the style and /style tags, or style tag basically, to put all of our styles up in the top of the HTML page, and then refer to them as we wish throughout the HTML code. And that works pretty well. But again, if this were a big website with lots of pages and you wanted to change something, you'd have to visit every page, every file, every HTML file, and fix the head section, or at least the style block in the head section, and get that all coordinated for every single HTML file. Lastly, we have the same lorem ipsum page with the same formatting. We have centered title. The header 2 is tells us about the file name. It's in gray. It's in Courier. Paragraph 2 is in Courier, and paragraph 4 is in blue. So if we look at this code, here's the basic web page. It's just got here's your HTML, nothing in the head section. You got a body section with a header 1, a header 2, and then it's got the 6 paragraphs. Okay. Now if I go to the inline one, you'll notice that I'm putting style attributes. These are here's an H1 tag and an H2 tag, and I'm putting in HTML attributes, and in this case they are style attributes. Style equals text align is center, and then it gives the text, and you're done with that. And header level 2, style equals font family courier, color equals that color code, and there's the text right there. File name lorem ipsum under CSS under 0002 under inline-css.html. And down in the paragraphs you can see there's inline style here. The second paragraph, in the P tag, it says style font family courier, and that ends. And in the fourth, paragraph, more inline styling here. Style equals color :blue. So, and the rest is the same. So that got us inline, but inline would be a mess going through many web pages, all those files, and finding the right place and changing it, because it's context sensitive. So here we go with some HTML that has the style and /style tag and end tag up here with some styles defined up in the head section, and then the styles are referenced in the in the body. So if I were applying this style to every paragraph, I could just have a P here, and that would be you know, I could say text align center, and it would center every paragraph. But what we're doing is we're creating a class, and the class is my H1 style. Then it's defined with a dot, so it's kind of a custom class. My H1 style, I want the text aligned as centered. My H2 style, I want the font family to be Courier and the color to be this 6 hexadecimal digit color descriptor. And by the way, some people claim that using this coded way of doing colors is better than the names for colors because, you know, one person's blue and another person's light blue may be similar. You know, just that kind of thing. But when you use a color, I used both here. I used the numbers up here, and I used the color blue here. If you look at the HTML standards, blue has a fixed code. So that's something you can take into account. And you know, sometimes people who do software development and web design would be included in that, may have style guidelines of their own as to how to you know, kind of coding guidelines and how they want the coding done company-wide. So as long as you don't overdo that kind of standardization, it can be helpful, you know, and people would craft their code according to those guidelines so that everybody in the company is comfortable with how things are written. So be that as it may, I now have a style. I have it's almost like a little CSS file built into my HTML document. It's up there in the style and /style block in the head section, and I can now refer to these things like in this header 1. Not every header 1 has to have this style applied to it. Just the header 1s that have this this attribute, this class attribute equals my under H1 under style will apply text align center to this header 1, and the same idea with header 2. It'll apply the font family Courier and color equals $9 Foxtrot 9 Foxtrot 9 Foxtrot. So you see the two paragraphs down here. I have a paragraph style class, if you will, defined, and that can be applied. And my P style 1 is font family Courier. My P style 2 is color blue. And so that's no longer inline. We call that internal. And so the name of this file is lorem ipsum under CSS under 0003 under internal-CSS. So we've seen no CSS, we've seen inline, and we've seen internal. And now let's see, I probably should move that over. Now we look at no. Well, I have that file twice. There we go. So now, similar to the internal section, the external case, in the head section I have a link, and it says relative to style sheet, this link is about a style sheet, and the reference is lorem ipsum CSS underscore 0004 under external dash CSS dot CSS as opposed to .html. So now the styles I use can be in that file. And you can imagine if I had a lot of web pages and had had all my styles in a small collection of files, it would be easier to maintain things. If we want to say, we want to change some key colors in our scheme, but we want to keep the scheme the way it is. Well, you can just change those colors as specified in the CSS files, and it automatically will apply to all the places in the HTML files that actually call out for those classes. So here you can see that there's a reference to a CSS file. And then in certain HTML tags, there's a class attribute calling on a particular style. And you can see that it happens in paragraph 4, paragraph 2, and header 1 and header 2. And the file looks like this. We define these custom classes, if you will, with a period and then the name of the class. And then this block, as they call it, where you have a curly braces, the left curly braces and right curly braces. Inside there are your property and value pairs, or property and keyword pairs, if you will. And so we have all those, all these different style tweaks applied under custom class names. So we have a way to refer to these different styles, and that makes things more manageable, because if you want all your header ones a certain way, or you have certain header ones that mean a certain thing, well, you can always change that and improve the look. Maybe you have some header ones that you want as red because they're error or warning or danger topics that are being mentioned in header level 1 sections, and you may just use a blue or something like that for other header level 1 sections that aren't describing some error or some risk or something like that. So the context of your document drives this, but I think you can see where CSS defined in a different place than the files themselves makes it easier to maintain the style in the documents, because you don't have to go running through all the documents, redefining the styles, for each page. And that's a great software quality and maintainability feature right there. Okay, so we've seen those websites, and again, all this stuff is posted in the class Moodle site under April 5 to April 11. I'm just still trying to catch up here. And I will be posting a homework problem about, a very similar thing. Make a very simple HTML page, using inline style attributes and property and keywords or values, if you like to call them that, and one with internal and one with external. So just a short getting back together message here, and some example files to look at. And remember, under the let's see, what week is it here? There's a lot of learning resources under the March 22, March 28th week for HTML especially. All right, take it easy. Until next time, we say aloha.